Welcome to Dice Doodles, the show where I am a slave to my dice and do exactly as they say, at least in regards to character design. The dice tell us what to draw based on my Dice Doodle map, and then we design a character in Procreate and animate it in Moho Pro animation software. Last week, the dice commanded us to draw an alien slow loris using two rounded triangles. Today, we are going to start the process of building out an animation rig for it in Moho Pro. Now that we have the Procreate drawing in Moho to use as a reference, I'm going to create a new vector layer to start the outline. Each body part is going to have its own layer group with an outline, a color fill, a shadow, and light layer. I'm going to start with the head. I'm using the Moho Styles function for outlines. I like to go with the brush called CK Inky for outlines, and I'm going to select the line boil option. Line boil recalculates the vectors on every frame and gives it more of a hand-drawn feel during animation, even though it's an animation rig. So I create a new style and call it Outline 1. Select my brush with line boil activated. The line width is a pretty good size on the default for this, so I'm going to leave it alone, but I'll crank it up on a different style for the color fills. I use the color picker on the line menu. We aren't even touching the fill menu today. I'm going to grab the line color from the reference image and then start tracing over the lines on the reference image to get our outline. To change colors, I need to create a new style, but if I select my outline style and then hit new, it will bring over all my settings from outline 1, and then all I need to do is change the color. The way styles works is if I change a color on the main style, every instance of that style will also have its color changed. It's like quantum entanglement. If quantum entanglement were a completely different thing, that didn't mean what it actually meant. For the color fill, I'm creating a new layer underneath and naming it Fill. Everyone say hi, Phil. I'm going to create a new style using the MC Chunky brush with line boil selected and a much thicker line width, and then I'm going to use the color picker to grab the most neutral version of the color that I'm going for from the reference image. For now, I'm going to do flat colors, and then I will come back and do the lights and shadows on a separate layer once I have each body part separated into its own layer group. Again, we're not bothering with the actual color fill options because we're just scribbling the lines in the way we would with a crayon or a marker. This will allow the line boil to shift around on each frame, making it look hand-drawn. It's okay to not be completely in the lines because, again, we're going for more of a messy look. If you cover your own ineptitude by saying it's on purpose, then you will go from idiot to visionary in the eyes of others. At least that's what I tell myself at night. For the eyes, I want them to be really big and more perfectly round than I am able to do freehand, so I am selecting the Create Shape tool and using the circle. This is the only time we will be concerned with the actual shape fill options. Now I'm just going to go through each body part and give it its own layer group. I'll even go so far as to create separate layer groups for the biceps and forearms or thighs and feet. The baby is where it's going to get interesting because I actually do want his little head to be able to move, so I'm going to have to create an actual pouch of sorts. I've said it before and I'll say it again, a big chunk of animation rigs is figuring out which parts need to go in front of other parts. Like with hair, usually I will have front hair and back hair layers because the hair at the front of the head is going to work different and move independently than the hair at the back, whereas if I'm just drawing a picture of the hair, it's all generally connected on the same layer. So we've got our little Joey and our little pouch flap in front of him. For the legs, I'm going to be duplicating the layers and flipping them to get some type of symmetry. I know I want it to look rough, but I don't want it to look bad. The shading is going to work largely the same in Moho as it did in Procreate, just using the unique tools available to us in Moho. I'm going to create a new layer and a new style, and I will pick the color that I think works best for the shading and lower the opacity on the color itself. Then I will change the layer blending mode to multiply. Once I have some shading layered in, I will lower the opacity on the layer itself until I feel like it's starting to resemble the reference image. I'm having trouble getting the same layered textured feeling from the original drawing, so I'm going to do two different shading layers. The first one will be a larger surface area but a lowered opacity, maybe 50 to 60%, and the second will be a smaller, more focused surface area at a slightly higher opacity. Usually I do around 75% for that. For the lighting, we will again be doing a similar process, creating a new layer and a new style, and then once the lighting is layered in a bit, we can play with the blending mode and layer opacity. For this project, I went with the luminosity blending mode, but often I will go with add or color dodge. I'm going to go through each different body part, adding light and shadow layers, using the original drawing as a reference for how I want that to look. I don't always use the same blending mode or color for each highlight, as the blending modes and colors react differently to the colors underneath, but you can play around with what works until you find something you like. And there we have it, a vector version of our Procreate drawing broken up into layer groups to make it conducive to building an animation rig. Join me next time as we rig our slow lures and create a short animation with her. If you want to do your own dice doodles, you can download my Dice Doodle map for free from the link in the comments. Have a whack at it and tag me when you post it. I'm at animation.bakery everywhere, or you could tag me on my personal account at Jeff Baker Draws. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe. I'll be posting a new Dice Doodles video every Friday with new characters as the dice commands, as well as my other animations you can see throughout the week, like the mundane life of John Orkman and the Eldritch Cuties. Have a great week, and may all your rolls be crits.